All right, perfect. So guys, my name is Jonathan Bannister, and I am the co-founder and CEO here at Cornerstone Marketing Solutions. And we are a print and digital marketing agency that specializes in deals with HVAC and plumbing contractors all across the country. And today, I just want to take a minute to kind of talk through, this is our story in 2 minutes. So who we are, who we work with. We're based out of Dallas, Texas. And we've been in this space now going on about 7 years. And for us, you know, it's all about the relationships and working with small businesses and really just changing the lives of so many people. And, you know, that's where we get our passion from. And as you can see from these photos, you know, just doing some of the speaking presentations that I have the opportunity that I'm invited to go do around the country, and you know, just being able to work hand in hand and go into our clients' offices and be able to do training and just see the impact that we're making in this trades industry is so fulfilling to us. So here's a little bit about us, right? We work with HVAC and plumbing contractors. We've generated over $250 million in revenue in the last 6 years. And we've worked with hundreds of HVAC and plumbing contractors. So today, we want to kind of talk through leads, right? The topic for today was everything leads in 2021. So we're going to go over the customer journey, or part of the customer journey. So for us, this is what we try to walk our clients through, right? This is our typical client. This is their customer journey. We want to attract the lead. We want to handle the lead properly. We want to schedule the lead. And then we want to make sure that our post follow-up service with that lead is absolutely 5-star, right? So today we're going to cover in detail steps 1 and steps 2. So leads. What are the best marketing? What are the proper marketing verticals that we should be getting leads through? So, sorry, let's see, I'm having some technical difficulty here. Let's see. So can I get someone to give me in the chat here? Can everyone see my screen? And let's see. All right. Okay. So is this good? Thumbs up. Everybody's good here? Robbie says yes. We can see. Got it. All right, great. Here we go. So leads, right? We all need leads. Leads is what is going to drive our business. It's what's going to, make sure that our trucks are, filled. They're going out each day, that our technicians and our salespeople have jobs, and at the end of the day, it is what fuels our business. So where do you get leads from? So for us, we want to put our clients in the best position of where the most leads come from, on a daily or yearly basis. And it changes, right? With technology, every single year, there's something new out there. But at the end of the day, the last, say, 15 years has really just been all about the internet, and it's been about digital. So where we still have a big print marketing division, and we encourage all of our clients to do direct mail, radius marketing, door hangers, if you can do it in your area, and even your big media buys, right? Though we don't do radio and television, our clients that do it, the ones that own that space and do it successfully, we see the impact on the digital side, right? So if they're, they have the 5 o'clock news spot every single day in their city and they're owning that TV, commercial spot that they have locked up, we see an impact that is causing the conversion rates to be better on digital, the cost per conversion, the cost per lead, all that gets driven down by these other marketing verticals. And the more touch points and more marketing verticals that we can have our hands on, obviously, if done right, should be beneficial to your overall business. But with that, these 7 here, we feel are crucial for any business that's growing or wanting to kind of take it to that next level. So type in, if you don't mind, of these 7, and if there's something up here that is working for you. So what I want to hear is, what has been the most successful marketing vertical for your business, or currently, historically? And if it's not one of the ones on here, please type it in. But I just want you to drop in the chat, what has been the most successful marketing vertical? And I'd just like to be able to share that with some of the folks on the call today. All right, we've got direct mail, PPC, Facebook, social media, okay? I mean, look, these are all good. And at the end of the day, different markets support different types of demands. So where we have clients literally from Anchorage, Alaska, down to this south tip of Florida, Washington, D.C., we have them spread across the country, but what works in one market does not necessarily work in the other. We've actually had clients close to the same market, and where one can run direct mail and has been running it for 15 or 20 years, another client may try direct mail and be completely unsuccessful. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it, but Robbie, when I looked over and saw the comment, I'm sorry, it just threw me off. So Robbie says nothing has worked, and that's why he's here. So Robbie, I appreciate you sharing that. We definitely want to hear more engagement from you and more questions as we get further in this, okay? So for us, there needs to be a foundation, right? The foundation really needs to come from your mobile, your digital billboard, right? That should be your website. Your website really needs to be set up to convert. It needs to be the foundation of how all this other stuff works. It's the opportunity for you to make, that one very powerful first impression. The more authentic imagery that you can have of you, the business owner, your family, that tells that story that you are a small business owner in your community, and that you're not, this multi-$100 million company that's buying up small companies all over the place. That tells a story, and it makes an impact, and it changes the conversion numbers across the board. And there's just no question about it. We've seen it. You put stock images on your website, you build a website that's from Wix or web.com, one of these easy templated websites that's very hard to optimize and use for SEO. You're just always going to be fighting an uphill battle. But you use these stock images, and when people land on that, they may have seen those images in other places before, or they just go like, there's no way like this is the people who own this place, right? But putting that authentic imagery makes a difference, because people truly care about giving back, and they would like to, keep it local, right? Like they want to do business with local people. So it's super important to know that everything up on this screen right here is a great place to get leads from. But where do you start, right? Like, if I'm going to do AdWords, or I'm going to do Google Guaranteed, or I'm going to do, social media ads, where do I start? Which one is the best? How much money should I spend? Because, in order to advertise with Google or Facebook or Instagram, it costs money. And, so it's like, what do I need to be spending? Those are all questions that a lot of our clients typically have when they join us. So at the end of this, we're going to be talking about what is the proper way to start with which verticals to use and how much money you should be spending. So it's really the first step of how we approach and go to market with our clients. But I've saved it for the last piece because it's typically where we receive the most questions, and we just want to keep it to the end so that we can kind of get through this webinar and be respectful of everybody's time. So leads, here's where we want to get our clients leads from. Now, once you get the leads, how are you going to handle those leads? And if you do not think this is an issue or a problem nationwide, and especially in the trade business, you're wrong, right? Like, we know we've all probably have hired CSRs or dispatchers that have just been atrocious, right? Rude to customers, and not being able to work on your business. If you're having to work in your business every day, it's hard to take a step back and see what are your other employees around you doing, right? So, step one has to be, how do I get out of the field and be working on my business every day instead of in my business? But what do we do with those leads once they come in? They have to be handled properly. So here's some things here to think about. That 50 to 60% of inbound leads do not convert, and 90% of web forms do not convert. Well, that's pretty astonishing to sit and think, well, wait, why should I even be spending money to get leads on if this is what you're telling me? But here's the thing. You have to understand why those national averages there are so extremely high. And here's the reason why. Because lead response time with most contractors is absolutely awful. We tested this theory out over the last couple years. So my director of sales, who's on this call today and is going to be available to speak to anyone after the webinar, his name's Drew Elliott. And what Drew started doing with his sales team was we only really did this because we truly wanted to test out the stats here. We wanted to see how accurate these numbers really were. So what he started instructing our sales team here to do was, when they started the strategy session with one of our prospects, they went on to the website right before they were about to log into the Zoom call. They went to the client's prospect's website and they filled out one of the form fills on their site, and they wanted to see when would someone be contacting them. So they left their real name and their real cell phone number, and they wanted to see how long it was going to take. Would they get an email response shortly? Because obviously a form fill is going to come into the business as an email. So what kind of response are you going to get back? And then how long is it going to take? And we were blown away by this, look, and we were fully transparent with the people. By the end of the strategy session, we wanted to let them know, by the way, this is what we did. Before we jumped on here, we filled out a form and we still haven't heard from anyone. Because it's not always a lead problem. It's not always a marketing company's problem. And I'm not saying that there's not a lot of bad marketing companies out there, because there is. But sometimes there's a mishandling of lead problem, and that has to be resolved if you're going to have and run a successful plumbing or HVAC company. So if you look at this and you see that after a minute, when you get from that minute to 2 minute, I mean, we've almost gone down here 200%. And then it just drastically just hits the decline as more and more time goes on. So I want everyone to understand you have to handle leads in a quick manner, or your customers or your potential customers are just going to go somewhere else. Unfortunately, we live in a day and age now where people want things instantly. We get on Google. Sometimes we don't even have to type it in, right? We can just say, make sure she's not in here. I can say, Alexa, blah. And we want things. We can say, Alexa, order me this. And then Amazon drops it off at my house the same day, right? So if someone is at work and they can't take the time to call, or they don't want to call you and they want to text you, or they just want to go to your website and fill out a form and say, hey, can someone come and service my furnace tomorrow? They expect to be responded to in a quick manner, or they're just going to go to the next person that they see that has good reviews. And then also here on the right is the follow-up attempts. Look at the converted inquiries that have come in by calling one time. 48% conversion number on first time. Remember, this is a lead that reached out to you. They filled out a form on your site, or they filled out a form on Facebook. But when you call them first time, we're only reaching 48% of them. But then here's a nice sweet spot number. On that sixth attempt, we're at 93%. But how many of us, whether on this call or just in general with life, has the staff and the crew that can reach out to a potential lead 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times? I don't think a lot of us. Now, all of us could hire a team. We could all hire a person that's their only job is to respond and follow up with leads. But it's just not something that most companies do. I will tell you that 99% of our clients did not do that when we started working with them. So we're going to cover this more here in just a minute. So here is an example of, on the right, this is what our most successful customers, our most successful clients do these strategies right here. They are contacting leads inside of 5 minutes. I tell you that our clients are actually responded to leads under 60 seconds. They're immediately making sure that their customer has a text message or email. Even if a human is going to make a phone call 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whenever they have the opportunity to get off, maybe a call with another customer, but they're going to instantly somehow respond to that lead to let them know that you are important and someone from our office is about to contact you. Kind of like maybe the auto response on Facebook, right? All of us should have that set up in our business account so that if someone messages you into your business private message, that there is an auto response that gives them the number to the office so that, hey, hey, Jonathan, we're going to be right there with you. We'll have somebody there with you in a second. In the meantime, if you need something, right this second, please feel free to call our office. Like that's just taking care and one of those essential touch points of a lead 101. Answering all incoming calls correctly. Having a designated person that handles leads, that knows the language, knows the offers. I mean, guys, this is a big issue in this industry. You will not believe how many times we have listened to some of our clients' calls from the call tracking, and we're running this big promotional offer. Purchase an air conditioning system, get a free furnace. Now these aren't our offers and campaigns. These are our clients that are putting out a lot of money on a big campaign or promotion they're running at that particular time. And you would just be like mortified to know that their own dispatchers do not understand the offer and just completely miss out on the opportunity, or telling a customer or a potential customer over the phone when they ask about a furnace and how much a furnace costs, and they say, oh, I know furnaces are expensive. They cost like $10,000 or something. Like we've heard that before. Now that was a former employee, because as soon as we downloaded that MP3 file of that call and sent it to the owner, he had to let that person go. We should never have our dispatchers or CSRs quoting equipment prices over the phone anyways, but to not know the specials that are being ran, it's a problem. They follow a script on every call, every text, every email, and they follow a system, and they're receptive to the training. And that's a big part of it. I did a call with a client of ours yesterday in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And he said, Jonathan, we need to get some training in our business, and wanted to see about our virtual digital platform for training, or possibly even doing some in-house training with his techs, because he has a selling tech model. And I like both models, right? Like we like the comfort consultant model, but we've got some clients that have really dialed in the selling tech model. So whatever model you use, that's great. Just let's do it well, right? But he told me, he said, I want to get the training started. The problem is, I know I've got some guys that are like, they're ready. They want to learn. They want to get better. They want to be able to sell higher ticket items and make more monies on their spiffs. And I've got others that are just not going to be receptive to the training. It's a hard conversation for me to have with these clients of ours, right? But I just figure honesty and transparency is the best. So I just tell them, you got to find what is right for the culture that you want in your business. If you have a tech that is so good and you're scared of losing them, you got to really take a step back and figure out why they're so good. Because they're so good because they can fix everything that's in front of them. Like, I don't think that's a good tech. Like, I want someone who's going to believe in the culture of my business, and they're going to talk about and explain things and articulate our maintenance program. And they're going to talk about our specials, and they're going to give that customer the 5-star service that we all want, for our business, and be able to make a true lifelong customer out of that experience. And then over on the left, this is a list of items that, obviously our clients that we start working with, this is what some of them do when we start working with them, and we work on changing their mindset and their processes in their business. Call leads within 24 or 48 hours. I'll never forget this happened on one of those test runs that I tell you when we talked to a prospect. They were down in South Florida somewhere, and we filled the thing out on their website. We did the full presentation for them, and literally the next day at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, Drew, or one of Drew's salespeople, got the phone call and said, this is such and such heating and cooling. We had you filled out an inquiry on our website. I mean, it literally took them like 16 hours to get back. And this was a company doing over $15 million in revenue. And that was the type of system that they had into place. So I just want to check in with everybody and see, is there anyone that feels that they're doing a phenomenal job, has a green check mark, you're on the right side of this column. And I don't want to call anyone out, but I do want you to engage here. Some, but not all. I appreciate that. We can all do a better job, every day, right? One of my team members always uses the 1%. As long as we're getting better 1% every day, we're in the right direction. So something that we've incorporated with our business and with our clients is having a lead nurturing machine that can handle the leads that come in and can make sure that response time can be under 60 seconds, can technically be immediately, right? As soon as they hit submit, a text or an email gets generated. We like to put that minute gap in there because we want anything that we send to a customer to seem authentic. We don't want it to seem too much of a robot and can be complete automation. It's different when it's a scheduled call notification and we're just alerting you that you've got an appointment today or that we're on our way. But if we're going to have interaction and try to schedule and engage with the lead that's come in, we want it to come off as authentic as possible. But having a system where you can respond to leads instantaneously through text message, using ringless voicemail drops, email touch points, having that chat widget on your website that converts it into an actual text message. So now that you have that contact in your CRM, that you can now continue that text, even if they get, dropped off your website or, the baby starts crying and they get distracted. If they were in a chat widget on your site that was not a text message and they get dropped from that chat, well, then they're going to have to find your website again and come back. And that's just friction, right? So if the communication immediately starts as a text message and they go MIA on you for an hour or two, your CSR can technically just re-engage and say like, hey, this is Mary from ABC Heating and Air. I was speaking with someone just a little bit ago and lost contact. If you have any questions, please reach back out to us. So having a system like that can and will make a huge impact on your business. So someone said getting to the lead within 5 minutes is something that we need to improve on. Absolutely. And I'm telling you guys, if you can do it within a minute, you saw the statistics, it makes a huge difference. And you wouldn't believe it. The average person, if you said, well, if someone, if you responded to a lead within a minute or within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, would it really make that big of a difference? But studies have shown it's not even day and night. It is a huge difference when being able to follow up that lead within minutes, and also making sure that the lead itself feels that they're important, right? Like it's not just responding to them. Like we understand that we may not be able to call that customer immediately, but if we can at least give them a text message that seems authentic. Hey, Jerry, it's Jonathan, Airplane AC. We just got your request for service. We want to let you know, Steve, our tech manager, will be contacting you shortly. But in the meantime, do you have a time and date in mind that you would like us to come out? Right? Get that open-ended question, get that engagement going, and then let human interaction jump in if we need to. So we've talked about leads briefly, and I know one of our viewers today had mentioned needing help with leads, and that's why they're here. So I want to cover that a little more detail here in a few. But we've talked about where we should be generating leads from SEO, PPC, direct mail. There's different sources. We talked about how to properly handle the lead, making sure that when it does come in, we're responding to it quickly. We have someone that's in charge, whether it's a CSR team or a call center that knows how to properly run a script to where they're not staying on the phone for 15 and 20 minutes. So now I want to talk about what happens whenever we convert the lead, book the appointment, give them all their reminders and heads up that we're on our way, right? But then we go there and this happens. So this is Connor. Connor's our comfort consultant, Connor here. And we got Tom, the technician. So what do we do when Connor and Tom go and give an estimate? So our comfort consultant goes and gives an estimate for a new system and fails to close at the kitchen table on that call. And it happens, right? The national average is somewhere between 30 and 35% close rate on residential install leads. However, that number almost doubles when it's a maintenance agreement customer of ours, someone that we have that history with, we've built that rapport with for a few years. They don't price shop us, especially if maybe we had we encourage our clients to consider doing like 100% buyback program, meaning if your maintenance agreement is $200 a year, and telling your customer that as long as there's never a gap in their service, that they will get 100% of that money back that they've invested into the maintenance of their system back when it's time to replace their system. You know what that does, guys? That ensures that your customers they're not going to price shop you. They've got $800 or $1,000 they feel like they can get back. And a lot of our clients have flat rate pricing and they still build that into it because they would rather have that customer's yearly service, yearly maintenance, referrals, and lose a little bit of margin when it's time to replace that system. And again, you have so much rapport built with them at this point. You may have, you may be selling them instead of a 14 or 16 SEER, you may be selling them, the high efficiency unit. You may be installing a $16,000 or $18,000 system when it could have been nothing because they price shopped you, even though they're a maintenance agreement customer. They just feel like, well, you're one of the most expensive in town. I'm going to go with the guy that's a chuck in a truck. It happens. So what do? Both of these guys gave an estimate, one for replacement, one for repair. And this is what happens. The wife says, I want to speak to my husband, and the gentleman who thinks that your $250 bill, I think someone mentioned that earlier about someone wanting to see our pricing from our warehousing, our distributors where we get our parts and supplies. I want to get a second opinion. Well, what are we doing? Now, some of our clients and some of the better ones in the industry, they have a pretty good follow-up process for the residential replacement leads because we know that's where the big money is. That's where the majority of our revenue is going to come from residential replacement. So we want to follow up with those opportunities, or we have a really good salesperson or comfort consultant that, that's how they put food on the table. So they've got a real good process. But you'd be surprised at how many contractors that are out there that even with rock star salespeople, they still do not have a really good follow-up process. They may just call one more time. Hey, this is Jonathan. I gave you that estimate on that system. Do you have any questions, or is there anything I can do for you? No, we're still thinking about it. And then past that, they're like, forget it. I'm good. I'm going to go to my next lead. So what we encourage our clients to do is to put a follow-up system in place. So literally with a click of a button, instead of this potential lead here that we paid a lot of money for, because by the time you factor in wherever you got that lead from, Google or Facebook, and it's $100, $150 all in price possibly to get that lead. Then you factor in your hourly wages and your insurance on the vehicles and fuel and all that. So you've got $300, $400, $500 built into this replacement lead, and you literally can watch it drop into the trash because your salesperson, or for those of us that have a selling tech model, the techs feel like they're busy. They've got 5 and 6, 7 calls are going on a day, especially in our prime season. Like, do you think that those techs are going to sit on the side of the road in their trucks and vans and they're going to be calling and trying to follow up with this? So these are things that we need to think about, because having a campaign built out where your CSR or your lead coordinator person, so that, because you can literally hire one lead coordinator person that is just focusing on leads that are coming in and distributing them out where they need to be, but then also nurturing this follow-up process. If that he or she had a program or a campaign that they could just drop these leads into, what kind of impact do you think that would have? So like, here's a sample of what a campaign could be. So think about the technician goes out, gives a quote for an estimate to replace the coils, and it's $800, $1,200. And the husband says, I want to get a second opinion. But we know 100% fact, that is the issue. That is the problem. No matter who they call, that's going to be the issue. So we don't have to worry about, are they going to get a second opinion and then I'm going to lose it to the guy that's going to try to come charge $100. Now, he may be able to beat your pricing on that $800 or $1,200, but he's not going to be able to do it for $100. We know what our costs are. But again, what would it do for your business if your lead coordinator or even your CSR or you as the business owner could take that lead opportunity and drop it into a campaign where a text message goes out? Hey, Brian, this is Jonathan at Airplane AC. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions about the estimate that I gave you today. If you do, feel free to ask them here. But then how about another text message, either later that day or the following day that goes out? What about an email? Because we should have their cell phone number and their email address. It should be in our CRM or dispatch software that we use. And what if there was like a ringless voicemail drop, like a pre-recorded message that could be from your tech manager or your sales supervisor that says, hey, this is Jonathan with ABC Heating and Air. I know I was out there yesterday and gave you a quote on a new system. I just want to let you know, if you have any questions about the estimate or anything about the equipment, please feel free to give me a call. We want to make sure that we answer any questions that you have. It seems professional. It comes off genuine and authentic that you care about them, and it could be automated, right? Because no one really has the time and resources, especially if we're busy, to continue to touch and touch and touch. But we just saw the sweet spot number at 6 times touching, and really that 9th and 10th touch has really had the highest converting numbers. But then we could also make it circle back around and force a manual call, where like a text message comes through to your salesperson. It says, hey, Jonathan, you need to call this customer. And all they got to do is click a button and they call, and they'll know the reason I'm having to call is because the automation has kind of went through its cycle, and now it's time to contact this customer before we're going to drop them into the long-term nurture, right? Or that's just going to be a monthly email or a newsletter or something like that. So I want to pause for just a second, and I want to ask everyone, if you don't mind, drop into the chat. The automated system, the unconverted lead, being able to respond to the lead within minutes or seconds. How many of you feel that these systems, both for service and your installation, replacement side of your business, would help your business today? Would think it would bring in additional revenue by having all those touch points in place? If you don't mind, drop in the chat just a simple yes if you think it would help. Awesome. We got some yeses coming in. Love it. Awesome. I think so as well. And we've seen it, and we've proved it with our clients. And it's just something I encourage each and every one of you to implement into your business. All right. So the last part of this that I want to discuss is the most important part of everything. Having the proper lead flow for your business it needs to be the most important. It needs to be the foundation of how you start any marketing or advertising campaign. And I say this because if your average install is $7,000 and you are trying to talk to your friend or someone in maybe one of your networks that runs a $20 million company and their average installs is $12 or $15 or $18,000, it's not in the same realm of what you're trying to accomplish. Where one company may be trying to grow by millions, you may just be trying to grow by 200,000. You may be trying to get from 800,000 to 1.2 million. You may be trying to go from 2 to 2.5. But also your overhead expenses are going to be completely different than your competitor or person that you're networking with, right? So we feel that if you do not take this initial step when you are starting your marketing and advertising plan, you are setting yourself up to fail from the beginning. And I just have to feel in my heart that so many contractors that we talk to and we eventually start working with, that they tell us, oh, our marketing company was terrible. They didn't, our phones didn't ring. We didn't get any leads, or the leads we got were bad leads. Now, we don't mind hearing that, right? That hurt our feelings. I'm not friends with whoever these people were doing marketing with, but it makes me take a step back and go, well, did you understand what your lead flow needed to be? Was there a loss in communication about what they were expecting to get and what they actually needed for their business? So we've taken this approach, and here's a kind of a sample of our spreadsheet here. We've taken this approach to understand each potential client that we're working with. What are your numbers? What is your average install ticket? What is your average service ticket? What is your job cost? What is your overhead expenses? And then what is the net profit that you want to make at the end of the year? And also, where is your business located? What does your seasons look like? Right here in the South, we really have two seasons, right? We have hot and cold. We have summer and winter. Typically, our winters are pretty mild. Last week was an exception. We were like living in an igloo. But we've got clients in Seattle and Idaho and Chicago, right? Like they have brutal winters. Minnesota, extremely cold winters, but they also have a spring and a fall in there. There is opportunity to get people kind of in the awareness of, hey, freezing cold season's right around the corner. when you get your furnace tuned up. It's getting ready to be extremely hot when you get your air conditioner tuned up. So how we would go to market for our client in Houston is going to be completely different for how we'd go to market for our client in Minnesota. Because the lead flow is probably going to be different in certain months. You know, we need to look at that 80-20 rule. Like where is 80% of our revenue going to come from? Which months is that going to be? Well, in this market, it's going to be May through August, maybe May through September. My clients in the South, those are the months that they're going to make sure that they're going to take advantage of every single opportunity that comes their way, because that's where the demand is. Because when it gets over 100 degrees here for a long period of time, that's when they can make the most of their revenue for their whole entire year. So understanding the lead flow for your business in January and knowing that in June, it's going to look completely different. But if you're doing the same exact marketing strategy every single month, it's probably going to have some inconsistencies in it. Now you may be a new business just starting out, and having organic SEO as your main source of leads. Well, of course, your strategy is going to be kind of the same all year round. Besides your keywords, you're going to want to be more aggressive at your keywords in winter for furnace related and heater related terms than obviously the AC in the summer. But when we're talking about a strategy that consists of generating leads through paid sources like PPC, Google AdWords, Facebook ads, Instagram, YouTube, and things like that, we have to make sure that the messaging is right and that we're spending the right amount of money at the right time. Because we may only need 60 or 100 leads in January, and we need 250 in June or July, because that's where the demand is, and that's where we're going to spend the most of our marketing dollars, right? And some of our clients, it's completely opposite. That's why all of this needs to be completely custom and designed around you and your business and your goals. So I challenge each and every one of you that are on here today that if you're not currently doing this, whether with your in-house team or with another company, make sure that there is a plan in place to understand what is the lead flow that you need from January to December. Now, it's all going to be forecasted numbers, but it all starts with your average numbers, your overhead expenses, your job cost. Right? Like this is the average on a national number, the job cost at 55%. So, but it doesn't mean every single one of us on this call today that our business, our job costs are at 55 or that our overhead is at 22. Some people are probably laughing right now going 14.5% net profit. Mine was 2 last year or 4. We can help you understand these numbers and your numbers better, and more importantly, put a plan together to help you know what does that lead flow need to look like each month. So now, once we understand the client that we're working with, and this happens day one, this is the beginning, this is how we move forward and become partners with this client, and they come into the Cornerstone family. But once we understand the numbers and our team puts a plan together, go, okay, look, here's what our marketing is going to be in January, February, March. And then the messaging is going to change, and the lead flow needs to really open up in April and May to get us ready for June, July, and August. Using that as an example, once we understand the numbers and how many leads are needed, then that's when we really want to get as much data as we possibly can. So here's an example of one of our spreadsheets where our team is listening and analyzing every single call that comes in through the different tracking numbers of the different marketing verticals that we're using, and then color coding the leads that are coming in. Because for us, a lead is a booked call. Now, all the other metrics that you can use, how many calls came in through call tracking, how much traffic was generated to your website, those keywords, how are your keywords ranking? Those are all great things to know, understand, and hopefully they're all great and they keep going up and up and up. But we have to understand, is the campaigns that we're running, are they converting it into new customers? So by having this color coded here, one, it makes it easier for our team to be able to see the actual leads that we've generated and then put it into our dashboard. And I'll show you that in a second. But also it makes it really easy for our clients to be able to have access to this and then be able to give an attribution next year, is making sure that we have all this data. So our team will take the spreadsheet results that you just saw from listening to each and every call, and then they're going to put it into this dashboard. So then our clients and our account managers can work with the owners and the management team to say, okay, listen, this is how many leads, how many booked calls were generated this month. This is how many came from plumbing. This is how many came from AC or electrical, whatever services they offer. Here's how much money was spent total for the month, both management fees and ad spend. And then the number that is so important to us and to our clients is the one in orange, the average cost per lead, because we have to understand, what are we paying for leads? Now, hands down, organic, your GMB, SEO leads are going to be the cheapest, always, should be anyways. But we've got to take everything into consideration. What are we paying for Angie's List leads or Yelp leads, if any of you use those platforms? But we need to take everything and be able to figure out a breakdown of where the leads are coming from and what are we paying. Because if we're paying $50 for an install lead on Facebook and we're generating enough of them, and we're paying $200 on Google or some other platform, we have to take that into consideration. Now, if we need the lead flow, if you want to, we got a client this year that they want to grow their business by $5 million. That was the plan put in place in October. Last October, 2021, they wanted to grow by 5 million. They're a $40 million company. They want to go from 40 to 45. So there's so many leads that need to be coming in each month that, obviously we're going to pay a little higher price on certain platforms. But when you're a smaller company and you're trying to grow your business, you have to understand, what is the average cost per lead and where are you getting those leads from? And if you need to pivot, how do you make that decision to pivot? You're just going to trust the marketing company to say, yeah, this isn't working. Thanks for telling us that. We're going to try this. No, you need to understand your numbers, and you need to be able to have somewhere to look at something very simple like this and not see, well, here's how many clicks you got this month, and this is how many phone calls you got. No, I need to know how many booked calls I had because of the work that you guys were doing. And then some easy way to communicate and be transparent with one another. All of our clients, we're transparent with them, and they are super transparent with us. On the monthly calls with our account managers and our accounts, this is what they're talking about. Hey, this month we needed to get 150 leads, and we produced 140 or 200, but it doesn't matter if we were short or we had more leads than what we were expected. Ultimately, at the end of the day, what matters is how much revenue came from that. Did we hit your revenue goals that you needed to hit for the month? Because if the answer to that is no, it's like, okay, what do we do? Next month, do we need to increase ad spend somewhere to make up that revenue? No, I think we're good because we're about to go into the next season, and we've got this promotional, offer coming up and it's going to generate probably X amount. Like that's the communication you should be having with your marketing company. So that concludes, see what time it is here, right at 2 o'clock. So that concludes the webinar. And what I would like to do is have my director of sales drop in a link into the chat so that you can schedule a time on his calendar if you would like. So you have his calendar. What I'd also like to encourage is anyone that feels like they are taking away something today that can help their business, please drop me a message in the chat. I would also like to open it up, Q&A here for anybody that has questions on anything that we discussed today, or any additional questions of just something that they feel they're having an issue with, a pain point with, that we can help in any kind of way. So right now, here we go. We're opening it up, Q&A. All right, what kind of offers are you seeing work with Facebook ads? Great question. Right now, I will tell you that we are generating leads in the southern part of the country for under $30 for replacement and tune-up offers. In the north right now, we're doing a lot of tankless water heater offers, and generators have been a huge one. So any of you out there that install generators, please, consider running some Facebook ads for generators, especially with this polar vortex that just went through. Trust me, I've reached out to a couple of my clients here in the Dallas market about having a generator installed. Let's see, Robbie has a question. Robbie, let's see. I'm going to allow Robbie to talk. Robbie, if you want to unmute and ask your question, we'll let you do it live. Let's see, you're on mute. Let's see. All right, so Robbie, you can also type it into the chat. Okay. So guys, I also dropped the link to be able to schedule with somebody from our team. This will be a one-on-one strategy session. This is, this will be a 10 or 15 minute call to get to know you, your business, understand where you're at, where you're wanting to go, answer any questions you may have, see if it feels like it's a good fit, either from our side and from your side. And then, obviously we'll put together a full strategy plan, walking through those numbers, through that spreadsheet like I showed you, and put something together to kind of let you know what it's going to take realistically for your business based off of your numbers, right? Like if you're doing 700,000 and you want to get to 1 million, your plan looks completely different than someone that says, we're at 2 million, we want to get to 4. And you'd be surprised how many people that perfect round number they all have. We're at 1.2, we want to get to 2.2. They all want to grow $1 million. And but what they don't understand is, what is it going to take to grow $1 million? And the guy that has a average install replacement ticket of $6,000, and then the guy that has one of $15,000, or the guy who has their sales team closes at a 38 or 42% close ratio and the other one closes at 18%, it's all different. So it's all got to be built around you and your business. What is a good closing rate on online leads? I want to say it's safe to say on a nationwide average, somewhere between 30 to 35% is going to be the close rate, not just on online leads, but just leads in general. And obviously, the more touch points, the quicker the follow-up system or approach is in there, it's going to make a huge impact and increase that close rate. All right, what else? Another question here. What is a good average cost lead for the different segments? Great question. So they asked, what is the average cost per lead on the different segments? Well, different marketing verticals obviously are going to produce different results, different parts of the country at different times. You know, when the demand is there, it could cause the cost per lead to go up or down. So there's a lot of variations that go in there, but I would say the goal for us is to keep the average cost per lead somewhere in that $80 to $120 range. And that's going to be combined and average between all the different verticals that we may be doing for one of our clients. So, you know, again, Facebook ads, we may have a client, I can look at some numbers here. I see client in Arkansas, we're running residential replacement leads for around $69. But we have one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana right now where it's under $20. You know, so again, the demand may be different. In Arkansas, they just got hammered with colder weather than we had. They were actually like -3 or 4 with the wind chill of like -15. So that there's so many different variations that could cause the numbers to fluctuate from different towns and cities and states. Does Cornerstone manage social media well? We don't have the time to post content. Absolutely. And guys, this is our bread and butter is content. So HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, this is all we've been working with for the last 7 years. So our team specializes and understand how to post engaging content on your social media channels and how to get your branding and your message out there. Any other questions? Guys, feel free. I know I dropped it in the chat. Let me just drop it one more time. Here is the link to be able to schedule with somebody from our team and to be able to put together a custom strategy plan that will help you understand what is the proper lead flow that you need for the rest of this year. And I know there was someone in the chat earlier who mentioned the issue with leads. Let's see, Robbie was from Pittsburgh. Robbie, it still shows that you have a question. I want to make sure before I sign off that we get that answered for you. Okay, so Robbie, you were asking earlier about customers arguing about a bill and wanting to see your supply house invoices. You know, listen, we would love to talk with you offline and kind of give you some scenarios and things that our clients have gone through and kind of how we handle that. But obviously, you're never going to hand over your supply house invoices, your markup, your overhead. That's your business. And, you know, quite frankly, you know, again, a company that's doing 40 and 50 million and spending 8 figures on their marketing, like they're going to have higher pricing and more overhead. Like it's all going to be, you know, factored into their numbers. Like it is what it is. It just may not be the right customer that you're looking for. Let's see. one more question. Oh, I am so sorry. Thank you guys. So someone said they do not see the link. So there it is. I apologize. I had it on, I guess I was just sending it to myself. I was the only person I was sending it to. So there's the link. Please feel free, reach out to us. I want to thank each and every one of you for attending today. I hope, more than anything, there was, value that each and every one of you have taken from this. And any questions that you think about or come into after this webinar and later on as the day, as you're talking with your team about the automation or the lead follow-up time or the nurturing campaign, any questions that you have, just reach out to us. We want to make sure that each and every one of you have the success that you're looking for this year. I have no doubt that as crazy as 2020 was, that 2021, there's a lot of unknowns, but what I do know is that our HVAC and our plumbing customers are going to have a ton of success this year. And we want to make sure that each of you are a part of that success. So thank you. Someone said this is great. Are you guys doing more webinars soon? Yes, we're actually going to run a webinar very similar to this one next Thursday. And we'll be running 2 next month. So please check your inbox and wait for a text message. All of you that are on today's will get an invite for all future webinars that we're going to be having. But we've got some amazing special guests lined up, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to bring some sales training into the mix, both for our service technician models, but also for our comfort consultants. We're going to bring in some master salespeople that are just going to talk to us, work with us, and answer all of your questions out there. So I appreciate it, guys, and enjoy the rest of the week. I thank you guys for attending, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.